recording this one as well this evening. So welcome to Mindful Flow this evening. Thank you for joining as we continue on our Back to Basics series, at least through the rest of this month, September. There's certainly enough postures that we could do this probably the rest of the year and not even run out, but we'll see how we feel by the end of the month and just keep it going at least until then. In tonight's practice, we are going to be looking at a seated posture. We're going to be working on Virasana, or hero's pose. Now, Virasana has the root vir or vira, which in the Sanskrit translates to hero, virile, veracity, virabhadrasana, i.e. the warrior hero pose. Those are all variations of the concept of hero. And so tonight I want you to be the hero of your own practice. I want you to practice mindfully. I would ask that you give some of these variations a try, even if you do or don't typically use some of the props. Give it a try tonight and just see what difference you'll feel in your posture and in your anatomy. So I'm going to ask before you get started to at least have one blanket, perhaps even two, but at least one blanket on hand so that we can use that, as well as, of course, our blocks that we always have nearby. And so in heroes, actually, let's just go ahead and we'll take a few minutes here and settle down, and then we'll get into our demonstration and talk a little bit more about the posture itself. So just find a comfortable seat. We're going to maybe sit up an inch or two on the edge of a blanket and help release our hips downward. So when we're sitting on the edge of the blanket, and by the edge I really mean the sort of just the very end of the edge, rather than sitting back on the blanket, but sitting so that it helps your pelvis literally tilt forward. And what happens then is it gives a little bit more groundedness to the hips, and you feel a little bit more energy rising up through the upper back. So it eliminates some of that rounding posture that we tend to find when we're sitting normally. So I invite you to close your eyes or bring your gaze softly down your nose. Have your hands just gently resting in your lap. And together with me, let's take a nice deep breath in. And then exhale and let it out, and see if you can make that out breath a little bit longer than the breath you drew in. And then again, a nice deep breath in. Don't make it too harsh, but just elongate the breath so that you can bring in a little more capacity. And then as you exhale, release it out slowly. And then see if there's just a little bit more that you can squeeze out of the lungs than where you might typically stop. And then again, inhale. Exhale and release. And let's do that one more time together. Exhale, slowly let it out. And this time as you release, feel your seat connecting to the earth below. Relax your shoulders, your neck, your upper back. But feel your body suspended in the air, comfortably seated, comfortably relaxed. Just take a moment and see if you can feel the connection between your mind and your heart as your bridge becomes that connection. Your breath is the bridge. As we sit in silence and in the stillness, allow your mind to go on pause from all of the thoughts of the day, all of the chatter, all of the anxiousness, anything that's been occupying your mind. Just let it clear out like a beautiful, spacious room. Open yourself to the possibilities of this practice, to exploring something new. And then go ahead and open your eyes or bring your gaze forward. Let's start by just stretching the arms out by the sides, reaching them out, up, and then carrying them overhead, reaching all the way up out of both sides of the body, connecting your fingertips lightly in the center. Take a deeper breath in and then exhale, take a little twist. Front hand to the knee, back hand reaching around to the back. Inhale up, extend your spine up to the ceiling. Exhale, perhaps deepen your twist, shifting the pelvis slightly toward your back's hand. And then inhale, bring the arms up and overhead again. Stretch and reach. And then exhale, turn into your twist the other way. Fully exhaling each time. Deep inhale once again, lengthen up. And exhale, shifting your pelvis, your belly, and deepening your twist. And then inhale, come back to center. We're going to change the crisscross of our legs. So whichever one you had on top, change it. Come to the opposite side. This will be the side that doesn't feel right. We always start on the natural side that we typically do, so this will be a little bit different, but we want to even out those hips. All right, go ahead and bring your arms forward. Reach them about shoulder height, just lengthening the fingers all the way forward. And then turn your palms toward each other. Cross the left arm over the right. Carry the right forearm up. And then stretch that arm across the body. Your torso stays forward. We're just stretching through the arms, the bicep, and maybe feeling that come around to the upper back as the shoulder blade opens. Breath here. Inhale and bring it back to the center. Let's try that on the other side. Right crosses over left. Left forearm up, breath in, and exhale, draw the arm over the side. So make sure that you're not hunching that shoulder up, but keeping it dropped down so that you feel the integrity of the stretch coming along the upper back and not into the neck area. Carry it back to the center. Go ahead and drop your chin down to your breastbone. So just dropping your head forward so that your chin reaches toward your chest, but still carrying a lift up through the upper spine. Take a breath here, just feeling that stretch in the upper cervical spine, right where the head connects to your neck. And then go ahead and take that chin, direct it over to your left shoulder, looking over your left shoulder. Breath in here and then exhale. Draw a smile across your collarbones until the chin rises and you're facing it, pointing right. And as you exhale again, draw that smile across your chest. Inhale and look left. One more time, drop it. Draw that little semicircle smile across the front and look to the right. Carry the chin back to the center. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about hero's pose. There's a couple of postures that are typically used in meditation. And they are used in meditation because they are meant to be comfortable seats for your body. Meditation, of course, traditionally, is something that has been practiced for thousands of years. And as the practice began, it was something that you sat in for quite some time, more than we typically do here in the United States. Certainly, probably more than most of us do on a daily basis, even if we're meditators. So the idea of a meditation seat is meant to be something that you can sustain in a comfortable manner for quite some length of time. Sukhasana, which we are in now, is a perfectly reasonable, comfortable meditation seat. And so typically that's something that a lot of people will make as their go-to, their easiest seat. And of course, it's known as easy pose or sukhasana. But hero's pose is also likewise a meditation seat. But many people do not find hero's pose to be the seat of ease. So what I want to do tonight is try to open up your mind to some possibilities, or at least give you some tools to be able to apply Virasana in your practice the next time it's presented. So just generally speaking, hero's pose is a seated posture with the legs tucked under, as like so, where our seat is sitting down between our feet, where the tops of the feet are pressing down on the mat, pointing straight backwards, and the knees can be a little bit apart. In the more traditional posture, the knees and the thighs are pressed closer inward. Now, when we assume this pose, a few things are happening. First of all, our knees, of course, are bent at a pretty good angle, and we are letting our seat drop all the way down in between the feet. So this is a very acute angle for the knees to bend. If you have any knee issues, if you've had arthroscopic surgery or any kind of swelling in the knees or anything that causes knee discomfort, then the first thing we want to address is how we can make that more comfortable. So we have our handy blocks. What we can do is lift up our seat and place a block underneath the seat so that automatically now my femur bones are coming down at more of an angle rather than straight across. They're already angled down, which takes some pressure off of the knees. That's not enough. Let's add another one. Now that seat is even higher. The angle is much much wider than it was when we began. And what you can do is just play with this depth until you find something that is more or less sustainable. If 2 stacked blocks isn't perfect, make the other one a little bit taller and stack it. So now I've got a lot more height on that seat. But the pose is still the same. I'm dropping the pelvis straight down. It's positioned between my feet. My feet and ankles are still in the same position. My pelvis and everything else going from the pelvic region up is exactly the same. So all of those can be played with. I had a student this morning tell me, okay, 2 blocks is still not enough. What I like to do is place a blanket on top of those 2 blocks. All right, so now you're getting almost to the point where you might be sitting in, more or less sitting in a chair. And again, it's all up to you and what you're finding to be reasonable and appropriate for your body. So all of those are perfectly fine. And what I would encourage you to do is have these props nearby anytime you practice, a blanket and a couple of blocks, so that you can accommodate the pose to what you need. So that's basically taking care of most of the issues with the knee compression. Another thing that may happen in hero's pose is that because we're sitting down between the feet, if you can see on the screen, I'm now flattening out the angle between my shin and the top of my ankle and the top of my foot. So those things are basically flat, pressing down into the mat. If your ankles give you issue here, if it really hurts to kind of flatten out the top of that ankle, then we can take a blanket, and this one is a little bit thinner than the first one I used. So I'm going to use this for demonstration. Or you can use a towel, and you can place that. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to revise what I'm saying. You can take a blanket. You can bring your knees on the blanket itself. Fold it down so it's nice and flat. And then I'm letting my ankles hang down over the edge of the blanket. So now I've got a downward angle on the ankle. It's a little hard to say. So instead of being perfectly flat, I'm releasing some of that pressure on the ankle, and my feet are dropping down below. And again, you can play with this height. You can have 2 blankets. You can make it a little bit higher. Whatever it takes to find ease and comfort in your body. The third thing I will offer is you may want to try taking a blanket, placing it between, this kind of covers both of these situations. So you may want to take a folded blanket, lay it across the backs of your calves, where it's reaching between your calf and your ankle, and then bring your seat down on the blanket. So now you've got both situations covered. You've got a blanket that's reducing the angle in between your femur down to your knees, and you've also got ease and comfort in the top of the ankle. I know that's a lot of information to throw at you. I mentioned this morning in my class, all of these things are things that we could talk about for a whole hour if we wanted to, but I'm sure everybody wants to move and stretch a little bit. So I'm going to try not to bombard you with too much. But if you have any particular questions that you'd like to address in your own anatomy, your own practice, then please reach out to me separately or offline, and I'd be happy to help you with some solutions. So the good thing about Hero's Pose is that it's a deep stretch for the quadriceps. And again, if your quadriceps are tight, try one of those other options where they're not being stretched quite so acutely, and that may help your practice. But you're getting a deep stretch in the quadriceps, you're stretching into the psoas leading up to the hips, you're getting some low back relief because you're lengthening down through the tailbone, and you're also getting, of course, the stretch in the ankles. So go ahead, and if you haven't already, let's come into Hero's Pose. So I'm going to remove the blanket, but you can, of course, keep it there for whatever seems to work best for you. So first of all, we're going to separate the feet. We're going to press the tops of the feet down into the mat. And then we're just going to find that sweet spot, either with or without the blocks, blanket, however you want to try it out to start. And you're going to let your seat drop down in between your feet. Now take care that your feet are pointing straight backwards. In other words, your toes are all pointing toward the back of the mat, and your feet are not sickling in or sickling out. So you want to have a nice straight line. And once you have accommodated that part of it, check in with your quads, check in with your knees, make sure that you're not feeling any discomfort or pain. They may feel a little tight, but you never want to feel pain. From there, let's go a little bit more inward now. Let yourself feel grounded in your seat. Imagine your tailbone having a literal weight at the end of the tailbone that is just anchoring you right down to the earth. And then feel yourself rise up through the spine, a little lift coming into the chest. Allow your hands to just rest softly on your knees. But then we're going to slowly push the shoulder blades together in the back. So a little bit of a squeeze together with the shoulder blades so that we create more expansion through the front of the body. It's subtle. It's not anything extreme, but just engage those trapezius and those rhomboids in the back. Really squeeze the shoulder blades and knit them together. And notice how that opens and expands through the upper chest. Now you're really invoking the feeling of being a hero as you open your heart. If you found a place of peace where you can settle in, let's just take a few breaths. Become the hero of your own practice this evening. Honoring your body for where it is today. Very nice. Let's take one more breath. And then go ahead and come forward. Bring your hands up to the mat. Let's curl those toes underneath so we kind of reverse the stretch on the ankles, flexing through the feet. And just press back really gently with those feet flexed and toes under. Press back just so we get a nice little counter stretch on the ankles. A little modified child's pose here, just kind of rounding the back forward and down, but maybe keeping those feet curled under. All right, inhale and come all the way back up. Come onto your seat again and stretch your legs out in front. So now we're just going to let the legs come all the way out in front. Coming to Dandasana or staff pose. Flexing into both of your feet, hands on either side of the hips. Same thing as before, very instructive from hero pose to Dandasana. Same action is happening in the tailbone, the lower pelvis, and up through the chest. Relax the hands down next to your hips. And breathe. One more breath here. Nice. All right. Very good. Go ahead and bring your legs around. Come back to tabletop. And we'll move a little bit here tonight. We're going to keep it pretty slow and close to the mat. So just kind of to meet your expectations for the practice today. We're going to start off with just a little cat-cows though. So coming into tabletop all fours. Go ahead and let the belly drop down. Extend your heart forward. Hips are rising up. Belly releases. And then take a nice exhale as you come into cat stretch. Bringing your chin all the way to the chest, dropping your head down, releasing through your neck. Oh, that feels so good. And then next deep inhale, come back to cow. And exhale, take it to cat. Again to cow. And again to cat. Come back to tabletop position. You may want to bring a blanket underneath your knees for these next few postures. We're going to be coming to a kneeling position, so if your mat or your floor it feels a little hard on the knees, feel free to take a blanket, spread it across, and give them a little relief. That's always a nice idea. Anytime I instruct you or give you that option, know that we're going to be there for a few minutes, so it might behoove you to do that. So we're going to come into a kneeling posture and take the right leg directly off of the hip, so it's coming off the side of the body, and then we're moving into gate pose, so we're going to turn the toes toward the right, and we're going to externally rotate that right thigh. So you're going to feel your hip opening. The rest of your body is facing toward the front. Lift both your arms up. Reach out of both sides of your body, stretch and reach. And then your right hand is going to come down to the side. Left arm, before you arch over, lift it up as high as you can with those left fingers. See how high it can reach. And then as you exhale, start to carry it over the ear, taking that stretch and reach over to the side as we create a beautiful arched configuration. Okay, we're going to take 3 breaths here, so stay here. Again, opening up the lung capacity on the left, feeling your lungs fill with air. Beautiful. Bring the left arm up and carry it back down. Go ahead and bring your right knee back up underneath. We're going to roll the right shoulder back. We're going to roll the left shoulder back. Take our fingertips just back behind the center of the body, reaching those fingertips down. And just as we did again in Hero, we're going to squeeze, we're going to knit those shoulder blades together in the back, almost like there's something just pulling them toward the center. And as we pull toward the center, the front part of the chest is going to lift and rise. We're going to breathe here into the heart expansion. Just like the hero of our own story. One more breath. All right, and then we'll take that left leg out off of the side, once again coming into gate pose. We're going to turn the toes toward the left, externally rotate the left hip, and then bring your gaze and attention back forward. Carry the arms up, reach as high as you can with those fingertips, and then bring the left hand down to your thigh. Right arm, inhale, reach, reach, reach. And then carry it over the ear, gently sliding your left hand down the thigh, maybe to the knee, maybe a little bit beyond. Breathing now into the right side body, feeling that right lung open up. Find new areas that weren't getting the air before and let them expand. We have so much unused capacity that we don't tap into with our lungs. So let the body give the space it needs. And then inhale, bring both arms back up and down. Carry the left foot back up under. We're going to go through that baby camel one more time. Rolling one shoulder back, rolling the other shoulder back. Knit the shoulder blades together. Take it to that baby camel. It doesn't look like much, but boy, you can feel it when you are mindful. Breathe here. Beautiful. And then roll your shoulders back. From here, we're going to go ahead and sit back and take hero's pose. So widen your feet so that you're allowing your seat to come down in between your feet. Use the appropriate modifications. We're not rushing tonight, so I want you to relax. Maybe even enjoy heroes. Is that possible, to enjoy Virasana? Center yourself down through your seat, just as we did a moment ago. Lift and expand through the chest. Relax your hands that can just sit on top of your thighs. I know it takes a minute sometimes to get those props into place if you're using the supports. So we're going to take 3 full breaths here. 3 meditative breaths. Tapping into that deep tradition of finding a meditative seat, a seat of ease. more breath. Very nice. All right, to come out of hero's pose, we'll just slide the hands forward, lift back up to hands and knees position. We're going to curl those toes under once again and lift the knees up. You can roll that blanket off of the mat if you want to just throw it off to the side. Let's take a downward facing dog, just because we haven't done one today, and that's always a really nice full body stretch. So come into downward facing dog, sweet and gentle. One more breath. Inhale and come on back down. So I have to tell you, I told you to take the blanket off, but I should have left it on. So go ahead and bring the blanket back where it was. Sorry about that. Hopefully it didn't go far. I want you to go ahead here and roll on down to your belly. And we're going to leave that blanket right where it was, going across your mat. So make sure that you've got a little bit of your blanket that's edging off each side. Because we're going to come into a prone position. And we're going to bring the right leg first up and then flex through the foot. We're creating basically a little frog leg. This is called half frog. And you can bring the knee so that it's about equal height as your hip. It can be further back if that feels better. I wouldn't recommend bringing it any higher than the hip, but if you want to bring it 90 degrees off of the body, that is perfectly fine. So as we come into frog or half frog, I'm first going to just fold my arms in front, and I'm going to rest and release down into that right hip, which is deeply opening. Breathe and relax. Beautiful. Really soften through the gluteal area. Breathe into the lower back. Takes a few minutes before you can really relax down into this posture. Some people can do both legs at the same time. That is not me, and that is not most people I know. So half frog is always recommended in my opinion. From here, we're going to transition to a different posture. So take your left hand and cradle your head in your hand. I know you're probably turning away from your screen, so if you can just follow along. Cradle your head in your left hand, and then you're going to roll yourself all the way over on your side. Keep that right leg exactly where it was, and just roll over to your side. So now you're laying on your side. You got it. From here, go ahead and bend your left leg. Bend it and carry the foot back behind you. Left leg, not your right. Your right is still where it was to start. It's your lower leg. So bend your lower leg. Maybe that's easier to hear. And then reach back with your right hand. See if you can grab hold of your foot behind your body. So carry your right arm back behind you. There you go. Grab hold of your foot. If that is too far, if that isn't comfortable to reach, then just let it go and reach that direction. You don't have to make the connection if that is too much. So you're getting a quad stretch on the left side. You can probably feel that. So from here, you can stay right here if this is perfectly fine or feels like quite enough. Or you can let your head go. You can let your head roll down. Release your head from your hand and slowly roll onto your back so that you're really getting the right shoulder to roll backward and down. So it's a little bit of a laying down posture now. If that's not comfortable for any reason, stay in that first position. So relax, make sure that you're holding on to the leg that's on the lower side, not the top side. So this is cat pulling its own tail. Various variations of this. And then let go of your foot. Bring your arm back across the body. Roll onto your belly and come back to where we began. So we're back in a prone position once again. And we're going to start off with that little half froggy on the other side. So carry your left knee up. And you're aiming for it to be 90 degrees off the body or less. So don't carry it up to more than 90 degrees. And then just relax as you let that left hip open up. You can let your head drop down. You can cradle your arms in front. And just breathe into your left hip. It is a deep opening, so I know if it's too much, you can pull it back. Soften down. See if you can relax those gluteal muscles. They want to tense up. That's what they are trying to do to protect the body, to protect your back. But as long as you don't feel any pain, see if you can soften them. A couple more breaths. All right, and then we're going to make that little transition to the other posture by simply rolling to where you're laying on your right side now, cradling your head in your hand once again. Keep that left leg exactly where it was. It just still is coming off to the side. And now we're going to bend the right knee so that the foot pulls back. We're going to roll the top arm over, see if we can grab hold of the foot. Again, if you can't grasp all the way, then you're just going to reach toward it. You're going to reach that general direction. But if the two can connect, you'll hold onto your foot with your left hand. Feeling that stretch now in the right quadricep. It's very intense. So it kind of goes along with some of these stretch we're getting in Hero's Pose, which is why I have these working together tonight. And then if you want to go ahead and drop your head down out of your hand, you can even roll onto your back a little bit more, rolling that left shoulder back. If that's not comfortable, then come on back up to the first variation. Again, this is a yin posture called cat pulling its own tail. We're not going to hold it 15 minutes like we would in a yin class. We're just going to try to relax into it just for a few more breaths. Go of the foot if you had it held in your hand. Go ahead and roll back onto your belly. Let's bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Press up and back, and let's move into a nice wide-legged child's pose. Let those knees open nice and wide. Let your seat drop down. Your belly reaches toward the floor, and your forehead drops down to the earth. Take 3 or 4 breaths here. Back up. Come back to all fours position. We're going to move around just a little bit. Nothing too intense tonight, but just getting a little bit of movement in the body so we get a few more general stretches in. And so let's lift up and press back to downward facing dog. I got a little ahead of myself a minute ago. Now is when we're going to stretch and reach into Adho Mukha Svanasana. Deep breath in and out. Go ahead and walk your feet up to the front of the mat. Come to a forward fold. Uttanasana. Hands on your blocks or the mat. Let your head and shoulders now relax, but keep lifting up through the inner thighs, through the lower core. Walk your hands gently up the front of the body. Lift yourself up to standing. Reach the arms out, up and overhead. Deep breath as you reach to the top. Exhale, hinge forward again and forward fold. Step back with the left foot. Take it to a runner's lunge. Hold here for one breath. Stretching that left foot back. And then drop the left knee down. Lift up the front of the body. Take it to low crescent. Reaching the arms up. Up to you. Take a little back bend if that feels good to you tonight. And then exhale. Bring the hands back down. Lift the left knee back up. Swing that right arm up. Take it to a lunging twist. Hold it up here. One more breath. Exhale, bring that right hand down to the mat. Drop the left heel, not your ankle. Drop your left heel down so that the foot is all the way on the floor. We're going to lift up to Warrior One. So let's take another heroic posture tonight. Virasana 1. One little standing pose. We're going to make sure our legs are up and supporting us. Bring your hands back behind the body. Interlace your fingers. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Lift your heart. Deep breath in. Exhale. Lengthen through your neck. And release your hands. Bring your arms back up. And exhale. Come back down. Slide your right leg back. Take it to downward facing dog. Nice deep stretch. Exhale. Again, inhale. Cleansing breath out. And one more. Exhale. Inhale and bring the left foot forward. All the way up to the front. Take it to runner's lunge once again. Pause here. Take a full breath in and out. Lengthen through your spine. Use those blocks if you like. And then we're going to drop the right knee down. Getting a little more psoas stretch into that right hip. Lift your arms up. Reach them skyward. Lengthen down through your tailbone. And then take a little back bend if you feel like opening further tonight. Exhale, bring your hands forward and back down. Lift the right knee back up and drop the right heel. Foot is at 45 degrees, positioning ourselves to lift up. Take it to Warrior One. Breathe. Feel strong and steady. Be the hero of your own practice this evening. Carry the arms back, down and behind. Squeeze your shoulder blades together in the back. Lift that heroic heart. Deep breath in. Relax and release. Let go of your hands. Bring them back up. And then exhale. Allow them to come back down. Slide it back. Take one more downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward, knees down. Exhale, back, take it to child. 3 full breaths here. Back up and come to your seat. Come to a seated posture. We're going to lengthen the left leg out. You're going to take the right leg across the body. Lift up through your spine. Wrap your left arm around your knee. Hug it into the chest. Take your right arm behind you. Lengthen up, create as much space as you can through your spine, and ground down through your right big toe. Turn your pelvis, turn your belly to the right. Breathing in with each breath, seeing if you can maybe move a little bit more into your twist, but do it in a gradual way. Remember, we're never going to the full extent of a twist in our first breath. We're going to let the body relax. We're going to let it react to feeling safe in that there is more space to move into. Because if we try to crunch it all in there at once, I guarantee you your body will shut down. It's a slow process. Back to the front, and we'll change sides. Extend your right leg down this time. Take the left foot across. Press down through that left big toe. Lift up. Your right arm wraps around. Your left arm comes behind. And start the process once again. Feel every little sensation. Observe what is happening. Yourself back to the center. Uncross your legs and let's roll it on down. Come all the way down. Option here, since we have the blankets, if you would like to roll up a blanket and bring it underneath your knees, you can take a nice little blanket roll and bring it underneath your knees if that feels good. Might feel good, help your quads relax. And your hands on either side of your body and just start to relax everything else down. We're going to do a little body scan here where we start with the toes. Bringing your awareness to the very tips of your toes. Very tips of each of your toe pads. And then feeling the release of muscles in all the tarsal bones, the toe bones, the many, many bones of the foot and the ankle. Relaxing through the ankles. Feeling a softness and warmth in the arch of your foot. Moving up from the feet Feeling the legs relax. Feeling the openness and sensitivity of the knees. Letting the ligaments and the tendons completely soften. Feeling the support of the blanket underneath. And allowing the muscles to become restful. Let your thighs become heavy. Let your pelvis anchor you to the mat and to the earth. Feel the rise and fall of your ribs as fresh, new prana, life force, vitality enters your body with each breath, one after the other, like waves in the ocean. Feel the aliveness of the beating of your heart. Feel your shoulders relax and release. Let go of any tension in your jaw. And feel the skin of your face become smooth and at rest. Allow your body this rest. Allow your mind to be at rest. Become the observer of your own aliveness. And find ease. deeper breath in and perhaps flexing your feet and ankles. Starting to bend your knees. Maybe hug them into the chest. Find whatever organic movement feels good to you. Rocking or massaging the back. And take your time, and as you're ready, help yourself back up. And we'll close our practice together by once again embracing the space we've created. Breathing in the peace and calm, and then connecting it deeply within our hearts. May you have peace of mind and peace of heart all the rest of this evening. Thank you so much for practicing with me. Om Shanti and Namaste. Thank you very much.